Hello everyone. Well, here's a nice piece from one of my favorite teaching books called The Keyboard Crocodile. It's called Boogie #1, and it will get you going with a boogie woogie pattern in your left hand and your ability to play the blues and rock and roll with your right hand. And it's something that you can play very, very early in your studies. And it goes something like this. Repeats, and then you have this little ending. So, you can learn this piece either by reading or by rote. And in this lesson, if you're watching this, you can learn it by rote. So let's go over the patterns of the right hand. So first of all, you want to get your hand in a C6 position. So it's this choo-choo chord. So how do we do that? We get our thumb and we put it on E, and that's next to the group of two black notes. So that's E right there. Then we're going to skip a note, G, A, and C. So this is the first hand grip for the first melody. So you can either go by your finger numbers, by the feeling, or by the names of the notes. So G, A, G, C, G, A, E, G. So you see all of these notes are right inside of that choo-choo chord, right? The C6 chord. So you can also do it by finger numbers. 2, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 1, 2. So if you even have trouble following that, you can break it down even more. You can break it into two little bits, right? So you can make two halves out of this. So first you have 2, 3, 2, 5, and then you have 2, 3, 1, 2. So you see how that works? Both halves start with 2, 3, right? They start with that 2, 3, 2, 5, and then 2, 3, 1, 2, or G, A, G, C, G, A, E, G. Okay, so that's your first phrase. Your second phrase is G, A, G, C. So it starts exactly the same as the first phrase, but now it goes E, G, A, B flat. And now notice that our fourth finger is going to come up on B flat. So, right, so 2, 3, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So notice we're also using a swingy rhythm. So let's put the first two parts together. And then. So you can pause the video, go back and practice those two parts, and when you're ready, we'll go on to the next part. So here's the next part. So remember we had this A, this C6, so it's a C chord with an A in it, right? So now we're going to do that same pattern, but we're going to move to C. So we're going to make an F6 chord, right? So now our second finger is on C, our third finger is on D, our fifth finger is on F. Okay, and we're just putting our thumb here. We're not going to use our thumb in this pattern. So this is what we're going to play here in this melody. So we're going to play C, D, C, F, C, D, C, E flat, C. So again, you can break it into two different parts. The first part is C, D, C, F. Second part is C, D, C, E flat, C. And then playing it together. can also think about it as finger numbers 2, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2. Okay, and then our next part. So our blues here are either major or minor. They don't know what they want to be in, right? So this, you either have E flat or E natural, okay? So we're still in this F6 for this part. So we're going to go 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4. So our fourth finger is going to do double duty. It's going to play both E flat and E natural. So sing the notes: C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, E natural. So here's our second part of the right hand. Alright, so you can take a second to review this part, and when you have the second part down, we'll do our final part. So for our final part, we're just going to get in the C major position first, and then the G major position, and then the F major position. So it goes like this: C major position. So we're going to do 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, or E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D. And notice I do it without swinging first, and then I swing. Okay, so when you have that part down, you're going to move to a G. So thumb is on G, pinky's on D, and you're going to just play a G major chord. So it's a G, a B, a D, and a C, right? So 1, 3, 5, 4. And then you're going to move to an F, right? I'm not playing the B flat because we're still using a C major scale. So F, A, C, and then an E and a C. So that's part of a C chord. We're just leaving out the fifth, right? So let's do the whole final part. So we're starting again in the C major position. So E, F, G, F, E, D, C, D. Move to G, G, B, D, C. Move to F, F, A, C, and then C and E. And then if you want to go back, you can repeat. Okay, and then for the ending, you're going to just play these two notes. And that's the 7th and the 9th of the chord. Okay, so now let's figure out the left hand, right? So when we're playing, you notice that there was a boogie-woogie pattern, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to way down, right? So we're middle C, low C, and then very low C. And we're going to play a C and a G. And you might recognize this if you watched one of my other videos, like Ode to Joy. You start with a 2-note chord. And as we said, this boogie-woogie pattern makes us both minor and major chord. So it plays both the minor third and the major third. So to practice this boogie-woogie pattern, you need C and G, you need E flat, and E natural. So it goes like this. So you do the outer notes, the middle note. So once you have this down, and you have the physical motion of this down, you can learn the second chord, which is on an F. And it's exactly the same pattern, transposed to F. So you have F and C, and then you have the minor third and the major third. Okay, and then you're going to alternate C and F, but then finally you're going to do a G1. So you need the root, the fifth, the minor third, and the major third. So So when you have all three of those left hands down separately, now you can play it together. Now, the beauty of this is that in the written down tune, your hands really never play together. So you get to practice this boogie pattern separately from your right hand, because the melody does this. C chord. So remember our first position, you have the C6, right? And then you just play C chord. Right? Now we're staying in our same position. In the fourth finger on B flat. Then remember you move to the F6 position. Right? So now we're going to move our left hand also to F. Here, so. And did you notice that when we played the chord, we had an E flat and a C. And then when we're still in that F6 position for the right hand, and we go back to C. And then we move our hand to the C position, and we're going to be ready with a G chord now in the left hand. G chord. Now move to G in the right hand, and move to the F. You're going to anticipate an F in the left hand. F. Move to F in the right hand, and move to C in the left hand. Okay, so if you're overwhelmed by that, you want to tell yourself, at first there are three stages when you practice, right? The first is you have to name all the chords, right? Think about where your fingers are going, and you're going to have thoughts, right? And you have to go slowly enough so you can think, right? That's normal. But however, when you learn this piece, you're not going to, your brain actually is going to be off, and you need to practice it. So the second stage is you need to practice diligently, and you might have some bumps. And then the final stage is your brain will be off, and your fingers will just play it. You'll have a few thoughts, but you don't have to have the thoughts. And that's what leads to the speed. But my main point is at the beginning is don't be afraid to go slowly enough so you can allow yourself to have thoughts, right? But as long as you have thoughts, your playing is not going to be smooth. So let's go through the final section, because that's the section where you have to do a G, an F, and a C in the left hand, and you have to anticipate everything. So we're talking about where your right hand comes to, right? So what happens is you go to a C position here, right? A G position here, an F position here, C position here. Okay, so when you've practiced that in parts, now there are some other things that you can do with this, right? So you can repeat on and improvise on a C blues scale, right? So some of you who are more advanced, you're going to take the hand grips of a C blues scale. So here's a C blues scale. There are these three notes, C, E flat, F, and G, B flat. And you can also kind of bop around the melody and do what you want with that C blues scale on repeats, and repeat the chorus as many times as you want. The other thing is you can do is don't limit yourself to playing the left hand by itself. So you can play You can play a whole bunch of things. You can also play up the octave, right? You can change octaves. So there are all kinds of things you can do. You can also do another boogie pattern. So there are tons, there are limitless numbers of boogie patterns for your left hand, playing the same melody, but changing around with your... You could do a gospel progression, right? So the C gospel progression would be that. So it's basically C, F, C, F, C, F, C, F, right? F, B flat, G, C, right? So there are all of these things that you can do as you get more proficient, right? So what you want to do at the beginning is just learn the tune and the left hand. So let's go through the whole thing one more time and before we sign off. So here we go. All right, well, I hope you have fun practicing this, and hope you have a great day. Thank you very much for watching.